Thank you, thank you. You guys can have a seat.
Were you guys snapping your fingers?
Snaps.
Is that a cool thing?
Nope, you're good.
I mean, I can snap my fingers. What's the deal? Told you to shut up. That's what's the number? 17 point million. I'll go with that. We lost light. Will we blame you for the lighting problem? Probably not. These plugins have been in this floor since I wouldn't doubt it. No, it's not. See, this, for those of you who don't know, this was the original church. From that beam back there to about the edge of, where that white deal is over there, that was the altar. And then that was a baptistry right there where those two doors are. So, yeah, we just kept building and building and building. Hopefully one day build again. So, anyway, tonight's message is titled Sweet Dreams. How many of you love sweet dreams? What's your favorite dream you've ever had? Do you have a favorite dream? Keep it clean. Huh? Any like really super cool dream you've ever had while you're sleeping? You woke up and like, wow, that was crazy. Has anybody ever had the dream you're falling? Never hit the ground? I have that dream where I'm trying to shoot and I just squeeze and squeeze and squeeze on the trigger and it never goes off. Yeah, it's a cop thing. Huh? Yeah, does anybody have weird dreams? Like super crazy dreams? What's your super crazy dream while I tie my shoe? Super crazy dreams? Any?
I had a super crazy dream last night. She hated me.
You had a dream that Lyric hated you.
No, yeah, like I was walking through like the school building and she was just like, you were like 8 feet tall and she was just like looking down on me. Like,
So she's like a huge giant looking down on you. Anybody else? Weird dream? Crazy weird dream? I had a dream one time that my wife ran off with a guy from the circus and he was totally covered in silver glitter. Yes. Have you ever woke up from a dream and you were mad about what happened in that dream? My wife wouldn't talk to me all day one time because she had a dream that I was fooling around on her or something, or an old girlfriend. I can't remember the exact deal of it. I'm like, I've been married 18 years and I haven't even talked to that girl in forever and ever and ever. And so anyway, I got the silent treatment all day because I was in a dream. I know. I got to take this out of my pocket. I'm going to play with it in my pocket the whole time. So, sweet dreams. How many of you love sweet dreams? Nobody likes nightmares, right? Bad, scary. Does anybody have dreams you woke up, you're still terrified for it through the whole day? Yes, you don't like those. Everybody loves sweet dreams. You want to wake up just energized with the dream you had. Has anybody, what's your dream right now? Like, what do you dream? What's your dream that you just...
I have a very simple dream. I want to go to college, become a teacher, and live,
Right, go to college, be a teacher, live local somewhere around here. Okay.
you want to live around here? Yeah.
Anybody have a dream? It's her dream, not your dream. Don't be the Jolly Green Giant that steps on her dream. My daughter wants to travel the world.
I want to be anywhere but
You want to be what?
anywhere but Missouri.
Where who?
Anywhere but Missouri.
Anywhere but Missouri, so you live in Rogers. Oh, okay. Okay, what's your dream? What's your dream past all this? Well, I mean, know that. I'm not doing the then what. I'm asking you what your dream is. What's your dream past high school? I feel like you're telling each other more than you're telling me. This is the interaction part, okay? You're killing my message. Does anybody have anything that you want really bad in life right now? You want something. Money. You want money. Yeah. But what would you do with the money? What would you buy right now if you had the money? You got something you want? Something you'd love to have right now? A certain car, certain. You want your gas tank to be filled? Man, you're all some low maintenance people. I like it. Huh? What do you want? Nothing, see? You can tell each other, but you won't tell me. Okay. Last year, I was, there was this ministry thing I was looking at, and there was, has anybody ever saw like a certain thing and you just wanted it? You wanted it bad. I mean, you just wanted it, and then you found how much it cost. Yes. Last year, my wife, I own more shoes than my wife does. Is that weird? Okay. Whenever I go speak at youth events, I take color coordinated shoes, shirts, whole 9 yards. I'm that bougie when I go somewhere to speak, yes. And so like Saturday night when I go to this youth event to speak, my shoes will match whatever I'm wearing. I mean, I got a certain little area in my room that is dedicated for shoes, whether they're dress shoes or just some Vans to wear for whatever, and they all have a purpose. And so that's the one little weird fact about me. But I also love coats. I like coats. Yeah, wintertime, I love certain type of coats. And then there was this coat. I wanted this coat super, super bad. I wanted that coat. Huh? It's okay. You can think it's ugly, but I wanted that coat. I wanted it bad. And then I found out who made it. Ralph Lauren makes it. Do you know how much that coat is? $680 is how much that coat is. And I went, ugh. My dream got squashed because, okay, here's the bad part about it. I was trying to justify spending the money to buy that coat. I really was. Yes, I was. I was really, and I didn't get it. I mean, there's certain clothes that come in and out of style. Because right now, like a lot of, I don't know, has it gone out of style now? The pants that are up to here? No. Yeah, that has been in style. But do you ever wear the pants that go up to here? Like high-rise pants? I mean, because whenever I was your age, the girls all wore those pants called Rocky Mountain jeans, and they were like halfway up their back is what it looked like half the time. Yes. So yeah, I grew up in the era of where the guys wore cardigans and the OP pants. They were a big deal. Levi's were whatever. And the cowboys at school wore those stupid Wrangler. I don't even know how anybody lives in that stuff. But anyway, that was my dream for last year. I wanted that coat. Anyway, $680, it was a no. And you're welcome. So now I just have, I do, but I just still have my black leather jacket and things like that. But I like coats. But when we talk about coats, we're going to talk about a guy named Joseph who had a dream. And Joseph had a dream, and Joseph's dream was coated. That was the problem. Does anybody know the story of Joseph? Not Joseph had a dream that Mary was going to be pregnant, but Joseph that had a dream and he wore a coat of many colors. It's actually, if you research it, the Hebrew, it actually doesn't say anything about many colors. The Hebrew means beautiful robe. That's all it means. I don't know where they got that out of there, but the King James Version says coat of many colors, and then it dies right there. It goes on to be in a beautiful robe and something. I think the ESV puts it as a multicolored coat. But Joseph has this dream, and we're going to look at Joseph's dream, and we're going to apply it to your life right now and where you go from here. Because some conversations I've had this week where I went with my dream out of high school did not end up being. Do you think I'm where I am now, where I thought I would be when I was a senior in high school? Well, I did. I was riding bareback horses in high school. I didn't play very many school sports. I ran cross country, played a little baseball, but I rode bucking horses. And so I was the only kid in high school that was rodeoing. There was a few kids that twirled some twine. And so I was riding in the junior rodeo circuits. And while the rest of my friends were cruising town on the weekends, I was gone somewhere riding some horse and then turn around and coming right back home. Yes, go drive 200 some miles for 8 seconds and come back home. And so anyway, that was kind of the lifestyle that I thought I would be living for the rest of my life. That was my dream. I had this girlfriend for 3 years through high school, and I thought that this would be the woman that I would eventually marry, and I would be this professional rodeo star and all this stuff, because I wasn't bad. My parents never ever hardly came and watched me at all, mostly because my mom was scared I was going to die, because she didn't want to watch me die in the arena. Because when I started riding, it was right after Lane Frost had got killed by that bull in Cheyenne. And so anyway, I'm riding this, I go ride, and my dad finally showed up at the American Cowboy Rodeo Association finals I was riding in, and I had this really crazy horse that came out, and he was spinning the whole time. And this is all my dad said to me whenever I didn't even know he was there. It was the final round. I won the thing. I walked through the gates, and I saw my dad standing there, and I'm like, holy cow, my dad's here. And my dad goes, well, you got lucky. Your butt landed everywhere that horse was. Good job. And he left. That was it. That's my dad's way of telling you that. Good job. Way to go, son. I'm proud of you. Yeah, it was different. But you don't score very many points on them, but they did pretty well for me. But Joseph has this dream, and his life doesn't really end out how he thinks it's going to end up. So right now you have an idea. Some of you do. I had no idea what I was going to do when I graduated high school. I didn't know what kind of college degree I wanted to get. I didn't even know if I wanted to go to college. I went to college basically because I thought I should, because I thought I was supposed to. And so I did. And now I have this stupid degree that I don't even use. It's not a stupid degree, but I don't use it very often. And so things didn't turn the way that I thought they would. But do you think God takes your dreams, doesn't necessarily squash them, but he has bigger and better ones for you, if you'll hold on? And so we're going to walk through that here with Joseph. And in Genesis 37, 1 through 11 is what we're going to look at. And it says, so Jacob settled again in the land of Canaan, where his father had lived as a foreigner. This is the account of Jacob and his family. When Joseph was 17 years old, so can you already start to relate to Joseph? How old is he? He's 17. He's a teenager. Okay, so he often tended to his father's flocks. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Zilpah. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. So he's a tattletale. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. So one day Jacob had a special gift made for Joseph, a beautiful robe. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. And if you have multiple siblings in the home, you may think you're the favorite, or you may think the other one is the favorite. Okay, so you get to pick. I'll let you decide whether you're the favorite or not. Okay, so his brothers hated him. They couldn't say a kind word to him. One night Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers about it, they hated him more than ever. Listen to this dream, he said. We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain. Suddenly my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. His brothers responded, so you think you will be our king, do you? Do you actually think you will reign over us? And they hated him all the more because of his dreams and the way he talked about them. Soon Joseph had another dream, and again he told his brothers about it. Listen, I have had another dream, he said. The sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed low before me. This time he told them the dream of his father as well and his brothers, but his father scolded him. What kind of dream is that? He asked, will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow to the ground before you? But while his brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what this dream meant. And so if you go on further in the story of Joseph, there's a whole lot of things that happen in his life past these dreams. His brothers hated his guts because of his dream. They didn't like to hear it. And Is it difficult to be different? They already hate him. Why? Why do they hate Joseph already? He's a favorite. He got the coat. Now, the backstory to that is when Jacob was trying to get his wife that he wanted, he kind of had some things that roadblocked that, and he ended up with other women in his path that was given to him as his wife, and it was not what he wanted. Finally, in his old age, he receives this. What are you fingering me here? Okay, whatever. I can't understand your sign language. He's trying to, or his father gets to marry the love of his life, what he really wanted. And so he's from the woman he really loved. And so is his father going to dote over him some because he's actually from the woman he wanted to marry to begin with? Yes. And his brothers hated him for that. They was jealous of him for that. And do you think he knew that? Yes, because they treated him different. They hated him. They didn't want to talk to him anywhere he went. And so if he would show up, what was their attitude? Oh, great, here he comes. Nobody wants to talk to that kid. You know, do you feel that way about some of your siblings if you have them? If they drive you a little crazy, do you go, oh, crap, here they come again? The little know-it-all, the mom's favorite, whatever, and they just keep running with that. And he gets this dream, he gets this coat. I feel like Joseph should have been what Tom Brady should be right now. He should stop talking, okay? Or, I mean, I'm not anti-Trump or anything, but his Twitter account really got him in trouble, okay? He talks too much. Do you know those people who just need to shut up? Like they just keep talking, especially if they get nervous. They really talk a lot, and you're like, you just need to please shut up because you're digging the hole deeper. I've been that person where I've talked too much and I needed to just shut up. And so Joseph has this coat that he's given. He has his father's favor, and does he put the coat in the closet or does he wear it? He wears it. He wears it anyway. He wears it whether they think it's cool or not. Okay? He wears his coat because really, when I was, again, I hate saying this because I sound like my dad when I didn't like hearing it when I was a kid. But he'd say, when I was a kid. But when I was a kid, man, there was some bright colored clothes. I mean, everybody was wearing really super bright colored clothes, and you would just probably die if they put some of them on you today because they were just so loud. And so with this coat, you have to wear it proud, or you can put it in the closet. And it's kind of like your faith. So Joseph had a decision to make. I'm 17 years old. I'm just starting to get out in what I want to do with my life. I'm starting to work my way up the food chain with my father. More chores, things of that nature, because he would go tend to sheep. He got responsibilities. And he has this coat that his dad gave him. And he knew that he'd be despised wearing that coat. You too get to wear a coat every day to school. You get to wear the coat of Christianity. And you choose whether you keep it in the closet or you wear it proud. Joseph had the chance to where he could just keep what was about him locked up. He could hide. He could ignore his parents. He could run away from them. He could be here or there. How many of you has ever threatened to run away from home? It's not really a thing much, but one. One person in the room. 2, 3, 4. My daughter raised her hand, has threatened to run away from home. Yes. Did Joseph ask for the coat? Did he? No. It says nowhere in here that Joseph says, hey, Dad, I'd really like to have this really cool Ralph Lauren coat. Maybe not the one that you didn't like up there, but he says, I'd really like to have this coat. Would you get it for me? He never asked for that, did he? But his dad put it on him. He didn't ask to be born of Rachel, did he? But he was. You didn't ask to be born of the parents that you have, but you are. And you choose what you do with that. And some of you may have some that you're not really proud of, and some you may have some that you are proud of. Did you get to choose the home you were born into? No. But you choose what you do with it. And Joseph had a decision to make where he could hide from everything that was being given to him and try and not live in the purpose that was being put upon him at the time, or he could just sit in his bedroom in the dark, like a lot of teenagers do. Are you any of those people that go and sit in the dark in your bedroom and just stare at TikTok or whatever? Okay, but here's what I want you to understand. Joseph was given these dreams. Did Joseph, when I say this, I want you to understand, did he have the dream or did he ask for the dream? He had it. He didn't ask for it, did he? He didn't ask for all that to be put on him, but it was. And a lot of you have some things in your life that you didn't ask for to be put on you. God didn't ask you, did he? He didn't ask you, I don't know how it works where he goes, boop, you're in that house, and you're in that house, or good luck. No, I don't know. I don't know how that works. I got really fortunate for the home that I got put in. But then I see so many youth that have come in and out of this door that didn't have it as good as I did. But they've still pulled themselves up and made something out of themselves. And some of them choose to hide in the closet of misery and just hide from what God has for them. Here's what I want you to get out of anything out of tonight. Do you believe that God has a purpose for you? Do you believe that God has a dream for you? If you will put your coat on and wear it loud and proud, even when those ridicule you, because how many of you have people in your life like Joseph's brothers? They trash you for who you are. Maybe they call you a snot-nosed little rich kid. Maybe they call you some bum. Maybe they put some kind of label upon you, because do you agree there's going to be a group of people that look at you differently than others do? They put something on you, and you didn't choose that. But you choose what you do with it. So Joseph didn't ask for this dream, but in Genesis 37:18 it says, when Joseph's brothers saw him coming, they recognized him in the distance, and he approached, and they made plans to kill him. He didn't ask for his dream. He could have kept it to himself, couldn't he? He probably should have had a journal and wrote that stuff down. But he didn't, because God needed you to understand. Because here's the reason. He could have shut up, but this next week, we're going to have Dare to Share Live. And we put out a little piece of paper that says you're either a shocker, a talker, what's the other two? Buddy. Something else. Yes, knowledge. You're a smart kid. How many of you are a shocker? Like when you sometimes you come on way too strong when you talk. How many of you are a talker? You're not afraid to talk to people. Okay? How many of you are just a buddy? You're going to hang out with those people who do shock and talk. You're fine just standing there quietly. And how many of you feel like you're the brains that they need to tell them to shut up when they talk too much? Some of you are patting each other on the shoulder right now. Joseph's brothers wanted to kill him for his dream. Who is trying to kill you right now for the dream God has for you? Not your friends. The devil may use them. But there are people right now the devil is trying to use to kill your dreams. And maybe, as we talked about before, it was generational sin. Where the devil showed up and put something in your family line because he knew the dreams God had to give to you to show you how dangerous you were going to be to the devil for him. Did that make sense? I hope so. I hope you're tracking with me. In Genesis 37:27, it says, instead of hurting him, they said, let's sell him to those Ishmaelite traders. After all, he's our brother, our own flesh and blood. And his brothers agreed. And thank God for Reuben, who did say that and said, hey, we should probably sell him instead of kill him. We don't want to do that. In 39:1, it says, when Joseph was taken to Egypt by the Ishmaelite traders, he was purchased by Potiphar, an Egyptian officer. Potiphar was captain of the guard for Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. We go on to the next one. So he took Joseph and threw him into prison, where the king's prisoners were held, and there he remained. Does this look rough? God gives a dream to Joseph saying, this is what's going to happen. All these stalks of grain are going to bow down to you. All these stars are going to bow down to you. Did this look like what Joseph thought was going to happen to him? No. His brothers hated him. They wanted to kill him. So they took him and they threw him in a pit. And they didn't know what to do with him, so they traded him. They sold him to these traders coming by. They dipped his coat in some blood and took back to Dad and said, oh, he was killed by a lion or something to that effect. And so he goes to Potiphar's house. Potiphar's wife tries to sleep with him. He says no and runs out of the room. Well, she makes accusations. He gets put in prison. And guess what else he gets in prison? He gets to talk about more dreams. Then he gets traded some more. But eventually, at the end of it, if you read the full story of Joseph, he interprets some dreams, he gains power in the Egyptian world, and he gets put in charge of all the food, it says in here that he gets all the power in Egypt. Because here's the next thing I want you to ask yourself. This is not going to make sense because my wife questioned me when I put it up there. There's a question mark after that, your. You're following your dream. But whose dream is it really? You have a dream. You want to be, this is what you want to do for a living. This is where you want to go live. This is what kind of sports you want to play in college. This is what kind of maybe activity you want to do right now. This is the man you want to marry. This is the woman you want to marry. This is what she's going to be like. This is the car I'm going to drive. I'm going to live on the lake or the ocean or in the mountains. You have some kind of idea of where you want to live, a dream that you have, and you don't know what to do with it. Gentlemen, so you don't know what you're going to do with the dream that you have, but do you have a plan put in place, what you want to happen with it? How do you plan to achieve your dream? Maybe it's college. Maybe it's hard work and whatever you put into it. But if that dream doesn't work out, does it mean God's a bad person? That he's mean? Because I'm going to tell you, I'm not where I planned up being with. That's not the woman I planned on marrying out of high school. She has to really be willing to take some of these talks that I have in here about this stuff. If I'd have married the woman that I was dated for 3 years in high school, it would have been a disaster. My dreams that I had, I did not plan on being here, but when I got into college, for some weird reason, I started taking a bunch of speech and debate classes. I had no idea. I just signed up for speech class. I had no clue why. Then when I got into the current job I have now, they had me talking in front of news cameras all the time. Had no idea why. When Greg Steer asked me why I think it took God so long to put me in youth ministry and why I've been in the job I'm in now for 25 years, I told him, I said, I wouldn't be able to understand the hurt that a lot of teenagers have because I've seen it firsthand. I've seen the reality of it. Was that God making his plan for me through all of that? Because he knew one day he was going to put this bald-headed, cockeyed idiot in front of teenagers all across the United States and possibly the world to spread the gospel to them. This is not my plan. This is not where I wanted to be. This is not what I wanted to be doing. That's not the woman that I wanted to be married to. I had no idea, but I didn't even think I was going to have kids. God knew that I needed to wait. So he put me in different types of prison. Does that sound mean? He put me in certain roadblock areas so I would end up with the woman I was supposed to marry, have the kids I was supposed to have, and the ministry that I'm doing right now. This is not you're not going to get rich doing this, trust me. This is not what I had planned. So whose dream am I actually fulfilling now? God's dream. I had my dream that I wanted. Joseph probably had an idea of what he wanted to do, but he didn't realize that God was using him so he could save the nations of Israel, because his brothers are who the tribes of Israel are named after. Because of Joseph's dream and because of what Joseph went through, he saved a nation. In 39:2 it says, the Lord was with Joseph, so he exceeded in everything he did, and he served in the home of his Egyptian master. In 39:21 it says, but the Lord was with Joseph in the prison and showed him his faithful love. And the Lord made Joseph a favorite with his prison warden. But you know those two things there. It says, what it say at the beginning of each one of them? The Lord was with Joseph. It says, but the Lord was with Joseph. At the beginning of all those verses, it says, but the Lord was with Joseph. Do you have times right now where you don't feel like God is with you? You don't. You will have days where you don't feel like, this is not the dream that I had planned, God. I didn't plan on having my heart broke this way. I didn't plan on mom and dad acting this way. I didn't plan on me having this bad attitude. I didn't plan on me making these dumb decisions, God. Where are you? It says it in the Bible, but do you think Joseph always felt like God was with him? You have to read this word and put your own self in it. Because are there days where you felt like God wasn't with you? You're not in a prison per se, but some of you are locked in the prison of some emotion. You got people that are locked in the prison of an addiction. As you talked about your friend. You're going to have days where you're going to feel like God is not with you. Like, God, this is This is who I want. This is what I want. This is where I want to be. And he's putting up roadblocks. Paul wanted to go into Asia to spread the gospel to Asia. And God says, no, I need you to go towards Europe. Do you know, if you study American history, where did the people who founded this country come from? Europe. God knew the advancement of man in the gospel, and he couldn't have done that through Asia. So God sets up roadblocks. God will make you feel like you're in a prison sometimes. It may not look the way you want it to be. But if you'll follow God's dream instead of yours, it may not feel like it at the time. You may feel like you're locked in a prison. There's a lot of things that have happened in my life in the last 3-4 years that is not how I planned it to go. I didn't plan on my wife getting cancer. I didn't plan on my mom passing away. I didn't plan on a lot of things. But once I sit back and take a breath and look at it, I get to see all the mighty things God did through that. And if you'll look at the prisons that you feel like you're in sometimes when God is not really just making you feel like rainbows and bunny rabbits, he may have you wear a coat that's ugly. I'll come to you for fashion advice. Can you handle it when you're in the prison you don't want to be in? Do you think Joseph wanted to be in this prison? No. He got put in prison the first time for something he didn't do. He got put in prison the second time for something he didn't do. People hated him for who he was. Does that sound a lot like Jesus? Jesus didn't do anything wrong. And they hated him for who he was. They dressed him in a purple coat for royalty. And they did the same things his brother wanted to do to, Joseph's brothers wanted to do to him. They killed him. And they put him in a hole. Joseph got out of his hole, and he was the king of the nations. Jesus got out of his hole. He's the king of everything. You tracking with me? Does that make sense? I don't want you to feel defeated in your prisons. When things at home are not what they're supposed to be, when things at school are not what they're supposed to be, when things in here are not what you want them to be, sometimes you don't feel God because you're not talking to God. Because you haven't praised him lately. Because you haven't got down on your knees and prayed. I love what the kids got me. If you were here Sunday, you got to see what the little kids got me for Pastor Appreciation Day. It was a kneeling blanket. So when you pray, you can unfold it, you can put your knees on it. First night I had it, took it home, knelt down next to my son and prayed. That's what we do. Me and him pray at bedtime. Life's not going to be easy. I got looked at so terrible one time when I spoke to a group of youth kids for the baccalaureate thing, when I said, when people tell you can do anything if you put your mind to it, they're liars. Don't fall into the lies of this world, because they will trick you. Can you be like Joseph, live out God's dream? Because what's God's dream for you? $1 million? The perfect husband, the perfect wife, perfect life. His dream for you starts on that board up there on the G that he created you to be with him. His dream for you is to be with him one day and for us to fulfill the plan that he has for us. That may not fall in your plans right now, but do you believe that God can take your bad decisions and turn them around and make them for his good? Yes, I'm living proof of it. A lot of bad decisions. Still making them. And he still turns me around. I wrote an article this last week for Dare to Share Ministries, the 7 qualities of a good youth pastor. Do you think I'm qualified to write that? There was a lot of the things that I wrote that I knew I should be doing. My friend, Mr. Bill called me today. He said, man, I read your article. I loved that. He goes, that was amazing. I said, Bill, I'd love to tell you I'm doing all those things like I want to be. But as I was writing it, I thought, man, I am failing at this. I'm sucking at this. I'm not even doing this. And so it was good for me to write it because it was good for me. Just another thing that I never, ever thought I'd be doing. One of these days, you're going to get somewhere down the road in life, and you're going to be like, this is not where I planned on being. But I'm pretty thankful God has me here. As I've told you before, I did not like teenagers. Did I get thrown into this spot in youth ministry years ago? I did. They said, hey, you're doing a good job teaching adult Sunday school class. Can you please teach youth on Wednesday night till we can find somebody? Did I get thrown into it? Pretty much. Did God take his dream for me and finally unveil it to me? Yes. She's still filling in because they asked her to fill in leading worship on Sunday mornings. How long you been filling in? Probably about 12 years.
12 or 13.
Yeah. One of these days, they'll find somebody. What would you do if I told you it was you? One day, you're the youth leader. What if I told you one day you'd be the worship leader? Would you say, there's no way? Joseph believed the same thing. 17-year-old kid ended up being the ruler of nations. These aren't just Bible stories. This is real life. How many of you feel like, boys, you could be the president of the United States? Maybe girls, you'd be the first girl president. This country does all kinds of things. Feel like you could be the CEO of a company. How many of you would love to be the boss of a big company? I got these little scary hands. I don't know. My first semester at college, I didn't know what to do. I came home and told my parents, I said, I just want to make it. That's all I want. I just want a life where I can pay my bills and be happy. I don't really know. I had no idea what kind of career I wanted to go into. I still don't. Make sense? You guys good? Ready to worship? Okay. If you're sitting in this room tonight and that dream for you that God has placed is salvation, please don't walk out of this place tonight living the nightmare of hell, because it's real. God doesn't mean for you to live in pits. He wants to pull you out. So I'm going to ask you to bow your heads real quick. I'm going to ask you, if you're living in the reality that you don't have a dream, you got an earthly dream, but you don't have a spiritual dream. If you don't know where you're going when you die, I'd sure love for you to have a dream tonight than a nightmare. Somebody asked me if I ever got tired of giving an invitation every Wednesday night. Heaven help the pastor who never ever gives the gospel or an invitation every time they're gathered. So if that's you tonight, you don't have Jesus Christ as your Savior. Again, I say it all the time. Every head is bowed, every eye is closed. I just want you to look at me and I'll talk to you afterwards. I'm not asking you to look at me, I'm telling you to. I'll be that overbearing adult. If you don't know, I'd just love to talk with you after. If the devil's got the best of you right now and keeping your head down, please don't walk out of here without us talking about it before you leave, or you talking to somebody. Maybe tonight's the night you want to pray to God that you're You don't know what your dream is. My wife talks about she knew what she wanted to do at a very young age, and she's living it out right now. That was not me. Maybe you know what you want to do in life, but you haven't brought God along with you. That's why during certain parts of the year, I offer what we call travel sports church, so I can minister to those kids who are gone on Wednesday nights because I see them and I want to offer something to them. Maybe you've never really thought about God and your future. Tonight's the night you get to talk to him and say, God, I've got a dream, but can you help me see yours? This is what I want to do, but I want to do what you want to do more. So I'm going to give you just a minute to talk to him. I'll close this out, then we'll get a chance to praise him. You get a chance to praise God because he sees you and he wants to do something with you. I know he's one big God up there in heaven. We think he's up there in the sky, but he does see you from where he is. So, Father, tonight as we close out, I just want to thank you for Joseph's story. Because, God, I know whenever I studied through this, it revealed a lot of things to me about my own life, to where I was when I was a teenager and where I am now. Father, I'm going to ask right now that you reveal yourself to each one of these students from 7th grade all the way to 12th, even to the leaders in the room, Lord. Some of them feel like they've been thrown into a pit. Life isn't going how they want it to go right now. God, it was so amazing. All the things that Joseph went through was not fun, but you still allowed him to feel your presence. And in the end, God, you brought that family back together, him and his brothers united again. He saved a nation. God, maybe it's tonight when you save a relationship, a friendship, or you save someone from making a bad decision that they were going to make tomorrow. God, I pray if there's any student in the room tonight that doesn't know you as their Savior, that they stop living the nightmare so they too can have that sweet dream that they will be with you one day. So God, tonight, let every teenager stand and not feel defeated, walk out of here because they can feel your presence. So we ask it all in Christ's name. Amen. You can stand up and sing your little hearts out.
Your stickies right there. I cast my mind to Calvary, where Jesus bled and died.
ready to go live God's dream? Yes. Do it like this. Yes. You say yes. Yes. Okay. You are dismissed.
I forget it's magnetic, and so I keep thinking I get stuck to something.
That's funny. Thank you. Yes, yes.